What's up? Let me get the old microphone over yonder. Sunday night in the Earlverse. It's pouring rain where I am. So, we'll go over here. It must be Sunday night. Hey, Ross. ACDC 5150. Thoughts on gym? I don't know anything about that. Hello, Richard Kish. And I started at 7 p.m. on the button. So, welcome to the flagship show of the Earlverse. Tilt the camera up a little bit there. Peter Chicken Man Brennan. Did I run into Ari Spears at the store? You know, I'm not sure Ari Spears is a paid regular at the Comedy Store. I don't think we've ever had the pleasure of meeting. He's more of a Laugh Factory guy. I saw that, Ross, but to be honest with you, I would have done the same thing. Now, Lois, that whole incident was over a French bulldog. Lois might not be a French bulldog, but I'm going to tell you this right now. If anyone tried to steal her, I would jump. I would do anything to protect her. I thought I was going to get jumped the other night as I'm walking Lois and this white dude. White dudes commit crime too. He kind of just appeared out of nowhere and got really close to my face. And he asked me if I knew where a liquor store was. Now, I live in a residential area. So this is a weird question to ask. And I thought he was using that as like a distraction method. So I was getting ready to throw Lois into the adjacent balcony and beat the shit out of this guy. But, he just wanted to know where a liquor store was. No, the NASCAR race in L.A., it's not in L.A., Jay Santos. It's in Compton. Hard pass, my friend. Oh, I didn't know about that, Peter. I mean, he's more of a, like I said, well, all right, well, not to me it is. Like, I live in a suburb of LA, West Hollywood. I guess you could say Compton is a suburb of LA, but I did not go to NASCAR. Actually, LA sheriffs. And here's the funny thing. West Hollywood got defunded, so there used to be West Hollywood sheriffs. Now it's LA sheriffs in West Hollywood, which is part of the problem with all the crime here, I think. No, ACDC, like I know that, like I once stopped a robbery. I don't think I've ever told this story, but when I used to play hockey in Garden Grove, which is a suburb of Orange County, there was a Subway sandwich, like Jared from Subway, the pedophile, across the street from the rink. So it was very popular because, I'd be out there all day on a Sunday. So Sunday night, it's about an hour drive for me to get home. So I would stop there to get something to eat. And I'm in line one night, and these three kids are talking really loudly. I mean, beyond loudly. And all of a sudden, the guy makes their sandwiches, opens up the register, and they make a move for the money. And the guy was shocked. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And I thought, "This is my chance to get a free sandwich for life if I save this guy." So I run out the car, or I run out the, subway, and they took off west. Now, just as I was pulling out to chase them, a huge Mexican guy is like, "Hey, Holmes, what's up?" I'm like, "These 3 kids just fucking ripped off the subway." And, he's like, "You get in the car, I'll head them off." And this guy was a gangbanger, man. Big. He might have been Samoan, but he was definitely a gangbanger. You could tell by the way he, carried himself. So, I start chasing him knowing that the gangbanger is gonna cut him off at the corner, and that's exactly what happened. Uh, the gangbanger saw them running, pulls in front of them, so they stop. I catch up with them, and I'm like, "Just give me the money. Keep the sandwiches. Give me the fucking money." And the gangbanger just grabs one of them, lifts him up off his feet, and sits on the guy. The other 2 take off, and then I hit the guy the gangbanger was holding with my sandwich bag. I was like, "How's this sandwich taste now, bitch?" Knowing that the gangbanger had my back. And then I went back to the sandwich shop, and then I gave the guy, I think it was all the money they took and the sandwiches. So I had free sandwiches for life at the Subway in Garden Grove. But that's why it's LA sheriffs. Oh, I'm sorry. Which sheriff oversees Compton? Well, it's like West Hollywood, the LA sheriffs. I think they did have a Compton PD or a Compton sheriffs, but they went rogue. They had like gangs in the sheriff's station, like the police gangs, and they're like, you can't have that here. We got enough problem outside the building. So I loved Subway. John Schneider, thank you very much. 4.99. You didn't even say anything. Oh well, you did on. Uh, Hello, Earl. Happy Sunday evening. Thank you very much, John. Uh, my go-to sub at Subway was I like the tuna. I tried clipped for your memoirs, Earl. I don't know what that means. Thank you, I guess. Um, Garden Grove, it's all Asian. For the most part, Filipino, Asian. So there were a lot of gangs around this rink. I mean, the equipment shed would always have gang graffiti on it because it's in a park. So I'm sure at night it was pretty rough. Jordan the Lion, the number one travel vlogger on YT. Check out. This is from the Billy Idol necklace line. In the midnight hour, she cries more, more, and more. With a rebel yell, she cries more, more, more. Good morning from Austin. Say hello to all my friends at the mothership. Oh, I thought it said Austin, Asia Town. I don't know where that is. Well, it's in Garden Grove, I bet. So does Jeremy Piven hang around with gangs? I don't know, Scott. He hangs out with Jeff Ross. I guess that would be a gang. I like big, heavy silver chains. This is a big chain. Thailand. Welcome to Thailand. See, this is what I love about the um, the Earlverse. We've got people in Thailand. Jordan is on the East Coast. I think we have an Australian in the house. Um, this is a happy, fun stream. No drama. You know, I don't I don't deal with that stuff. I'm in a good mood, man. Texas in the house. Um, we can talk about anything. I don't know what Jeff Ross is or isn't, but he ain't cool. I'll tell you that much. But this is going to be a Jeff Ross free zone. I might have to insert Jeff into the Dabbleverse $30 and up club. Peter Chicken Man Brennan, a frequent tipper. Thank you very much. Do you think people confuse Ian Edwards with Tracy Chapman? I don't think so, to be honest with you. They might confuse him with one of Bushman's 12 kids. Hello. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, Dabbleverse free zone. I just don't have I don't have any interest in that stuff, man. No playing in the mud tonight. Well, you can play in the mud tonight and ask Dabbleverse questions, but it's $30 and up. Does Jeremy Piven know Jeff Ross isn't cool? I don't know what they know, but no thank you for that crew. Birds of a feather. Yes, Jordan will be with his better half March 3rd, Greensboro, North Carolina. I like to do things last minute, so I've been looking into plane tickets. I'm trying to figure out how long I'll stay. Will I just literally fly in Sunday morning, leave Monday morning? Will I stay there for Saturday night so I can lounge around? But I love flying into a city for one day, doing whatever I'm doing there, and then flying out the next day. Because I actually I like airports, man. I just like the vibe there. You should send Bushman's daughter the link. She's hot. I was on the roast of Bushman's daughter many, many years ago, but I do think that Jamar Neighbors made his daughter cry, talking about all the freckles on her face. So, she's been MIA ever since. Saint Ranger, one of the greats. Saint Ranger 1959. Hey, Big Earl. Big howdy to you from Pam and I. Howdy back. Good evening to all the nice folk in the audience. Yes, there are nice folk in here tonight. I've had to institute some rules in here to ensure that we stay nice in here. If you want to roast other people and talk shit about other podcasts, do it on someone else's dime. Hello, Spurg. Hello, Greg. It's a good group in here tonight. I really enjoy the Sunday night this is our show. And I think it's the only show where there's no one else streaming. So it's a good night for me to do this, especially tonight. It's pouring rain in Los Angeles. We are supposed to get in the next, I think, 7 hours, 8 inches of rain, which is absolutely insane. Hello, Nick. I don't know about. We can talk wrestling, by the way. I'm always down to talk pro wrestling in here. Although, in full disclosure, I am more AEW eccentric in here. I don't know, Nick. I mean, I feel bad for Cody Rhodes, and people are like, "What do you mean you feel bad for him? He won the Royal Rumble 2 years in a row." I think that's rarely been done, if I'm not mistaken. I believe, I don't want to say it's never been done. I'm sure it has. I mean, WWE/WWF has been around for, almost 50 years at this point. I'm sure I don't know how long the Royal Rumble's been around, but, okay, just Stone Cold. I mean, that's pretty iconic, but, still everyone wants their WrestleMania moment, which sucks. Because, eventually everyone from AEW is going to want, Kenny Omega wants a WrestleMania moment. If the rumors are true that House of Black will be I mean, I love House of Black. I've really grown to love them, but it makes sense that. But I almost said Buddy Roberts. Shout out to the fabulous Freebirds. Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black's wives work there. Um, so I hope that means we don't lose Julia Hart, because I don't know if their contracts are all up. Um, I mean, I love the entrances. They're all three really good. I mean, Buddy Matthews kind of reminds me of a more muscular Kenny Omega. Like, he's really good. Like, that's a guy who could benefit from AEW having like a good writer. So hopefully they don't leave, but who knows? But I do think, I mean, they must have paid Rock a lot of money the other night to be in Birmingham, Alabama. I mean, Birmingham is a C wrestling market. You've got the big A markets like LA, Chicago, New York. And then you kind of got like the B markets, like, I don't know, like San Diego would be a B market. Sioux Falls would be a B market. I don't know. I mean, I guess like Jacksonville would be a B market. Like, you would never hold a pay-per-view in Jacksonville. And then the C markets are like the smaller southern towns, Huntsville, Alabama, stuff like that. I mean, well, Jay, I do think that Vince's side should be heard. I mean, as you guys know, in all he said, she said situations, I do think that both sides should be heard, and then you make your own decisions. Like in this particular case, I mean, Janelle Grant is kind of an unknown, so she doesn't really have a history, to go off of. Whereas Vince is, I think the bad thing for Vince is he's been accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault. Either he or his company has for almost 50 years. I mean, you go back to like I said the other night, the ring announcer on Phil Donahue. I mean, if William Zoom were here, he would know the year, but I think it was like mid 80s, 83, maybe 84. And if you want to know what the defense is going to be like against Janelle Grant, you could just pull up that interview. I guess YouTube Vince McMahon, Phil Donahue, and it was the typical, this is what Vince was saying to that guy in the episode: "You were never good enough to be an announcer for my company. You're just bitter, and it's going to be to Janelle Grant. You were never good enough to be a top executive. We had a consensual relationship, so that covers up them having sex, and then you kind of judge for yourself." I mean, those texts are pretty fucking creepy. I'll say that. I mean, it's literally no means yes and stuff like that. I have never run into Kanye West, Britney. Cornette's saying that ain't the Vince McMahon he used to know. Well, that's the thing. Predators are really good at covering up their tracks and looking like a cool guy. I mean, you know how many fucking times I ran into Ron Jeremy around town, because he used to live by me, and he was actually soft spoken, and you could tell he was smart, like not book smart, but like, we'd have the interesting conversations about the entertainment business, and he was a bit of a historian of old Hollywood. And then look at him. I mean, the guy literally got fucking Me Too'd out of porn. Like, that's impossible. I mean, put that into perspective. Girls who take it in the ass for a living were like, this guy's too much. So, I wouldn't put much stock in Jim Cornette saying that's not the Jim Cornette, or that's not the Vince McMahon I knew. Chicken Man Brennan, was Dean Gilbert today's Vince McMahon during his reign in the store? And who was his Johnny Ace? I think Mini Dean, but I don't think Dean Gelber ever sexually assaulted anyone. I must stick up for Dean there. Um, well, I don't know AC/DC if 90% was bullshit. I would say, um, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think it was 80% was real, and then 20% was people. Like I had a friend of mine. I think I've told this story before. Uh, that is funny. I mean, he was blown up in a limo. I had a buddy of mine, bad. A lot of these things always happen after a bad breakup when the emotions are at their highest. His ex-girlfriend accused him of the R word. I don't know if we can say that on a stream. Sexual assault. And a couple months go by of this girl running around town saying this person, sexually assaulted her. And most this girl was very believable. Everyone liked her, so most everyone believed her. And then you know chinks in the armor and the story started appearing, and then she finally fessed up. It was just a bad breakup. I was pissed, and he told me, it's like, I wish I would have sexually assaulted her. And I'm like, what? But everyone now knows you didn't do it. Like, yeah, but it's too late because there's a lot of people who think I did do it, so I might as well have done it. Like, sounds crazy, right, to say that, but um, you know, uh, well, Steve, also the Kiss My Ass Club also is a little what? Yes, the WCW Zodiac. We got some wrestling fans in the house. Dante the comic enters the chat. Shit, he wouldn't have the guts. Uh, I mean, I don't know if I would laugh through that complaint, no matter whose side I'm on. I mean, I will say the text, uh, they seem very specific, so it's a hard thing for me to believe that Janelle Grant just came up with this story in her head. But that doesn't mean, anything's possible. I mean, I always, and you guys know this about me, I always used to believe the accuser because I was like, who would lie about being raped? I guess I just said the word. Um, who would lie about getting assaulted, abused mentally or physically or both, unless it happened? But, as you guys know, had an ex that was running around the LA scene telling people I threw her down a flight of stairs. And but like I said, I think all people said, okay, let's look at her side of the story. Let's look at what we know about Earl as a person. And literally, I don't think she turned one person against me because they were all like, all right, Earl's a lot of things. He ain't that. So, but with Vince McMahon, it's kind of the opposite. Like, how many, ex-female employees have hinted that, they were manipulated in some way, physically or mentally, and the toxic era of the backstage politics. And obviously, you have the Pat Patterson rumors with Ring Boys, and how many wrestlers now have come out from that era saying that Pat Patterson was a known predator, and that was Vince's right hand man. So right hand job man. Hello. So I think he did, Spurg. Like, it sounds crazy though. Hello, ACDC gets it. I know. I mean, Cody Jordan is getting the extended Sting treatment. I knew it would happen. He should have won last year at WrestleMania. I had a brush with death tonight. No. Well, I'm glad you're all right. I mean, it's crazy outside right now with me. I mean, my whole walkway's flooded. Uh, it's I'm staying in tonight, which is why I don't mind. I mean, I'm not going to do a 3, 4, or 5 hour stream tonight. I don't have the endurance for that. I don't know how some of these guys do like 5 hour streams. I don't need the money that bad. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, my friend is a real legit lawyer. She told me the sex trafficking is going to be pretty hard to prove, but and I get the Janelle Grant's lawyer probably going, well, wait a minute, pictures were sent across state lines against her will. They were sent to this pro wrestler. He was either in Minnesota or Canada at the time, so that's the sex trafficking angle. But Vince McMahon's lawyers are going to probably get out of that one. But and he's 78. They'll delay the trial. He'll probably die before this ever goes to trial. Um, well, I do remember that, Dylan, but there's been a lot of people who were molested by women. You know, uh, my brother was by a tutor. He didn't end up raping people, so I don't. Well, no, I mean, listen, I like to do typically ACDC, maybe a little over an hour, hour and a half. I think is a good. I realized last Sunday because we were breaking all kinds of listening records. Everyone got amped up, and I think we did a little over 2 hours. But I've been flirting with maybe doing a podcast Sunday through Friday, take Saturday off. Just I'm not sure the times I would do it at, but just an hour a day. Of course, it's a little difficult to try and plan when to do it when there's everyone's streaming and stream sniping, and it used to be like one person would be, say, like Shuley from 6 to 9 live. I believe I'm talking my time, 6 a.m. But now you've got people waking up to stream snipe them, so it's like it's not just one person streaming, it's 2 to 3 people streaming to stream snipe the original streamer. So I'm gonna just pick a time Monday through Friday, maybe stream in the morning. Although the Sunday night stream definitely seems to be my go-to, like the most popular one. And then put on the best stream I can, and if you like someone else just streaming at the same time, watch them. Boulder Johnny, my Instagram friend. I do drink mainly Rockstar or Celsius. Yeah, I mean, Jordan, they'll just delay, and by the time this goes to trial, Vince will be in his early 80s. He'll put it this way: he may not die before the trial starts, if there is a trial, but he will die before the verdict. Because it's funny, I forget, I was talking about this with my friend about Carl Weathers last night at the Comedy Store. Like, for 76, he was fucking in great shape. I mean, I used to see him around Venice a few years ago, and for a guy in his early 70s at the time, he had an amazing body. But Vince, I don't know what Carl Weathers supplementation was. I don't know if he did steroids or growth hormone or if he did anything. Um, but Vince, has taken everything under the sun, and so the insides of his body, he might be 78, but like his liver and his kidneys, they're probably literally that of someone who's 115. So I don't know if he can live much longer, especially with the stress of possibly a pending trial. Now, I could see, since William Morrison Devers now in the picture, Ari Emanuel going to Janelle Grant, not directly, but through lawyers. What do you need for this to go away? Because they're just about to go to Netflix. That's a big fucking deal to me. I don't want this cloud of a trial hanging over a Netflix debut. What do you need? There's 50 million covered, which 50 million is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of Netflix, William Morris Endeavor, and the WWE, it's a good amount to spend to get this to just go away. Um, so yeah, no, I mean, I like it. I just like doing it, and um, that's why I don't go on anyone's show anymore in the Dabbleverse because that's going to get stream sniped, and then I get roped in on it, and people are shitting on me, and I'm good, man. Because when you're down to shitting on me, it's imploded. Like you've run out of targets. So, I will not go on anyone's shows anymore. I won't do anything with anyone because it's just like then I get roped in the drama, and I don't fight back online. I fight back in person, and the odds are I'll never see any of these people in person unless they come to a comedy show. But I like it that way. I like talking. Right? Yeah, we only have 32 people in chat. I'd rather have 32 people who are cool, and we're talking wrestling and topics of the day than get involved in shitting on Stuttering John or something. So, I mean, the feds, they want a big target, and you can't get much bigger than Vince McMahon. So I could definitely see them. I mean, this isn't going away unless our Emmanuel steps in and goes, here's 50 million. It's done. You're going to sign an NDA. Here's the money first. Sign the NDA now. And I mean, maybe. I mean, I can't see Ari Man. I can't see anyone from the Netflix William Morris Endeavor side leaking this because it's going to hurt their bottom line. Yeah, I mean, you think, well, but Nick, you think someone who came from the TV show Roast Battle would be all about shitting on people and putting them on blast. But what always intrigued me about Roast Battle, and it's something that I still like about it, is I like the mano-a-mano combat. In other words, if you wanted to say something bad about Earl, guess what? You can. You could talk about how old he is. You could talk about his parents dying 2 months apart. You could talk about being related to the Kennedys. But guess what? Earl's going to be about 7 feet from you, and he's going to get to interrupt you. He's going to get to roast you. And so I like that. Earl, get a ring light. Get yourself this way the camera doesn't have to keep auto adjusting the brightness. It's worth it. Well, here's the problem with a ring light, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I am, the ring light is brutal on my glasses. It literally looks like this. But I am getting new glasses this week, so I, I might, and that's not the camera adjusting. That is the TV in the background, the screensaver. So maybe I should just turn the TV off. I'll figure it out. I'm still, I take feedback from the fans. The podcast with Kim was really good. Great conversation. Yeah, I love Kim Congdon. She's another one. Like, she keeps it real. Me and her would have been a great roast battle because we both know each other. We both know where the bodies are buried. She knows who I've dated. I know who she's dated. But, I will never roast battle again. So that era is over for me. Watching boxing on TV. No, I watch wrestling and shit on TV. I watch the news to get material for jokes and whatnot. Oh yeah, I don't know Kate Meany, so I have nothing. I just nothing to add about her. I mean, I do think it's a mistake someone who's not a comic going into that world because you're just going to get eaten alive by people who, are, like I said, I mean, if you look at, there's a lot of really established comics in that world, and you're just not going to be able to keep up with them. Roasting's a much different vibe in person. Anyone could sit there and type Earl's old, blah 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 blah. Earl's fat, blah 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 blah. It's another thing when I'm on stage with you, especially in the belly room days, um, when the room was packed, the energy was like very ECW, um, and like it was, if you wanted to talk shit, um, it was different. Um, and TV, it was different too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I was roast battling really all my roast battles, Tom Ballard, Jimmy Carr, Sarah Tiana, K. Trevor Wilson, Jesse Joyce, I was fucking petrified. Um, well, I just don't think I don't know her, so um, and plus all the fucking creeps in the Dabbleverse are probably always DMing her, "Hey, let's hang out. I'll save you from this person or that person." Gross. Uh, oh, Jaslyn looks great at roasting. He'd be an assassin at roast battle because he'd do it like American Psycho style. There's nothing you're gonna say is gonna phase him. Um, do I have any worry about the my spots at the Comedy Store, Jordan, with 4 new people being passed? That, I mean, not really, because I mean, Jim Norton's a New York comic, so he's not going to be in LA maybe twice a year, so that's not going to affect me. The other 3, they're not going to be asked to do an hour in the main room like I did last night to close the show out. I'm not saying they can't do an hour, but like especially the younger kid that got passed. He There's no shade towards him. He might. I don't know him. I've never heard of him. He doesn't have an hour, so I'm actually, in that sense, in a good spot at the store because I'm one of the few people who can do that amount of time up there outside of the headliners. But a headliner's not going to go last, so outside of the comics of my, not fame level, but of my stature, I'm probably the one who can do the most amount of time. And as you know, Jordan, Saturday nights at the Comedy Store, it's a very late arriving crowd, so they need someone who can stay up there a while. Um, Better taquero. I don't know. I don't. I mean, my favorite Mexican food is El Compadre, where it's right across from, I believe, um, the Guitar Center. So I can't really answer that question. Steve Parker, speaking of K. Trevor Wilson, do you watch the Canadian show Letterkenny? I don't, but I love K. Trevor Wilson. We bonded the season before Roast Battle because we did an untelevised season. And like he was good, man. I mean, beating him in Canada means more to me than beating Jimmy Carr because I mean, he's a legend in Canada. So, uh, great guy. I did not know that about about El Compadre, Jordan. Uh, didn't El Compadre have comedy shows? No, that was Acapulco, bro. I did them. Remember there was an Acapulco, I think, was it La Brea and Sunset? I believe it was the old, no, where the Dojo of Comedy later became. Um, yeah, I don't have Hulu. Do you know Jim Florentine? A great guy. I love Jim Florentine. I'm like the less successful version of Jim Florentine. Hey, we're 40 minutes in. Let me thank my tippers. I like to thank the tippers for being tippers. John Schneider and Peter Chicken Man Brennan. You guys have a special place in my heart. But I've done a lot of shows where the building is no longer there. Joey Diaz has told all. Oh, I mean, I don't listen to Joey's podcast. I love him. I've been on it, episode 666, ironically enough. But I could see El Compadre being a drug den just because you got all the musicians from the Guitar Center. and that general area of Hollywood. Yes, just the tippers. Pew. Um, but that's a pretty scummy area where the Guitar Center is. You've got Rock and Roll Ralph's, so I could see people saying, "Hey, I'll meet you at El Compadre for a drink. Bring the package." Um, Tom Green was never um, in my clique, or I was never in his clique. Days with Jordan in the line, $5. You didn't have to do that, Jordan. My girlfriend made me. She said, "Send this idiot some money." Hello. I got something she could send. It's a little extra there. ACDC 5150 $1.99 just for being Earl. See, you can be a good person and people will. Hey, $2 is $2, man. It's all adding up. None of this super chat or membership money or gifted memberships, or by the way, I've made 59 cents since being monetized on my videos. Man, you know, I give YouTube credit for the super chats and memberships because you're like, oh, I can make decent money at this. But oh, sorry about that. I'm trying this new energy drink. It's carbonated. Woo, sorry about that. Um, but the see, someone told me. I think it was someone in chat, maybe Colt C. I might be mistaken. To make $1,000, you on a video, it has to be viewed like 1,000,000 times, and I just don't. Um, I don't have any videos that are going to get 1,000,000 views. I mean, I wish I did, but although I'm having it edited right now as we speak. I did do a Carl Weathers like a 5-minute joke slash story last night at the Comedy Store, so be on the lookout for that. Earl and Gino Bisconte would be a fun hour show. I love Gino, but I would not do a show with him just because he's going to over talk me, and I hate that. And plus, he's one of the main targets in the Dabbleverse, and I'm not getting roped in on that. If Boone was still around, we could get you a second chain by tomorrow. I love silver chains. And I've seen some people have Amazon wish lists. I'm not asking you people to buy me fucking gifts. I got my own money, super chat money, bitch. Dr. Nova, it's all good. All good. Jay Santos, $1.99. Earl the Pearl. See, I've not asked for money once in 40 minutes, and now it's just flowing in. And for those of you going, hey, Earl, times are tight. Live streams, are like podcasts. They're free. And there's a lot of free ways to help a comic out. You don't have to super chat me or buy a membership or whatever. You could share. You could hit the like button. You could... I have no idea what Discords are. I really don't. I'm not playing dumb, but you could, I don't know, I guess promote in there. I'm not asking you guys to do my work for me, but there are ways you can help if, times are tight. And I get it. Times are tight. I've had to cut down on one leather jacket every 2 months. The economy's tough. Glad everyone's made it. Well, I don't mind Gino being a talker. It's his show. But I'm not battling my co-host to get in a line because by the time I wait to get the line in, the line's not going to be as good. I like Jizzy Pearl. I saw him when he was a singer in Rat. Yes, I do. Except if you want to send me anything, Earl Skakel, care of the Comedy Store, 8433 Sunset Boulevard. West Hollywood, California, 90069. This was the first gift a fan of mine ever sent. Abdullah the Butcher. It's pretty sweet. And I've stayed true to my word to my friends in chat. I don't panhandle for money here. William Zoom said it best. I'm a bartender right now. If you like what you hear, tip every now and then. If you don't, it's all good too. You could tweet out the link or, whatever. Tweet at a comedy club. Hey, we'd like to see Earl Skakel. That helps too. There's a lot of ways that don't involve financial tips or whatever. All right, now that we got that out of the way. Well, the only reason I said the Amazon wish list, Jordan, was I was listening to someone's pod or stream the other day, and they were like giving all these ways to pay them. Like, if you think I'm going to have an Amazon wish list where fans can buy me stuff, not on your life. 100%. Abdullah. Well, Abdullah wasn't just his forehead; it was basically his whole head. Um, yeah, I mean, PS5. I don't Twitch right now. I can't stream and Twitch. Like, an hour and a half stream is about my limitations. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm assuming whoever runs Hulk Hogan's website, it's more them than him. I don't see Hulk Hogan being on Twitter. Um, and I know in that TNT show, Rich and Shameless, they kept replaying the joke over and over and over again. I mean, it is a fucking funny joke. I will say that. So, I'm assuming they were like, fuck this guy. They didn't even pay me for that. I guess there's some rule, and I always wondered why they cut the second half of the joke off. I do the joke, Hulk Hogan's sex tape is like his in-ring wrestling, 2 moves and a shitty finish. And there's another part of that joke where I pause for about, I don't know, a second or two to let the laugh die down and go, and at the end, when he comes, calls the girl brother. That gets the big pop. And they cut that out. And I guess my friend who Jordan met, I don't want to say his name on here, but he was in charge of the Ric Flair roast. He's like, if it's 5 seconds and under, they don't have to pay you. That's why they cut that part out. So, welcome to Hollywood. Peter Chicken Man Brennan. Better promos, Sid Vicious or Josh Nasser? Well, that's a tough one. I got to be honest with you. That is a tough one. Hold on. I'm getting a notice that my iPhone is about to run out of battery. And since that's what I'm using for the Wi-Fi to be as good as it can for me, let me charge it. Because I care about the fans. Cheap skatery. I'm not cheap. What are you talking about? I don't know. I mean, well, getting back to Chicken Man Brennan's, I love Sid Vicious promos because they were so mangled and bumbled that it made his character of being a psychopath believable. But I will say that if you go back and watch the Shockmaster promo, once the Shockmaster fucked up and tripped over the brick or the wood board, Sid was the only one who stayed in character and saved it from being worse than it already was. Thank you. It is a nice T-shirt. Barbarian Arms Skakel in the house. Oh, I thought you said Barbie Arms Skakel in the house. For those of you who know me, you know what the last name Barbie means to me. We're live, pal. Yes, we are live. Dylan? Are you Dylan from Predator? Because some damn fool said you were the best. What's the matter, Dylan? CIA got you pushing too many pencils? So my tribute and homage to the great Carl Weathers. Rest in peace. Hey, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. A free way to help Earl. I'm still not sure how it helps me, but do it anyway, will you? I don't really like this energy drink. It's a little tart. It's a little tart. Peter, Chicken Man, Brennan, better WCW dance. Alex Wright, Disco Inferno, La Parker, or Norman Smiley. I'm partial to Disco Inferno. I'll go Disco Inferno. Although Alex Wright, he was well, I do like La Parka too. That's the sad thing. Some of the old guys show up in XPW like Juventud Guerrero, and it's like, oh man, you didn't save your money if you're wrestling for XPW. I mean, WCW, they had a good run. Well, I saw a shoot interview with Alex Wright talking about some match where he was getting kind of bullied, and he's completely bald now. He definitely looks different. But then I started looking at some of his wrestling matches, and they covered up him balding pretty well. AC/DC 5150, they did not tell me. And I was there last night, but they do have a big box in the manager's office for gifts and whatnot that people sent. So I'll check tomorrow night. I'll be there. I have a few of my Los Angeles King friends coming tomorrow night. I'm not on the lineup, but I always go there. Thank you very much. Whatever you sent me, thank you very much. I'll wear it on the stream. And, I always appreciate I've gotten a lot of wrestling dolls. So, I appreciate anything you guys send me. Sid fucked up a promo and asked JR to do it over. JR replied, "We're live, pal." That's the deep cut reference I was making. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't understand that. But that's, I think, probably my favorite Sid promo, and he's had a few of them. I like the one where he turned on Shawn Michaels. That was a good one. Because you saw a little impromptu, at the end when you could tell Shawn Michaels didn't want to take the power bomb, so he kind of wiggled his way out of it. So Sid just picked him up again and power bombed him. What's the address we send gifts to? It's the Comedy Store. Put Earl Skakel, the Comedy Store. 8433 Sunset Boulevard, West Hollywood, California, 90069. You're half the man that I am, and I've got half the brains that you do. That's a great Sid line. I like, he didn't fuck up the line, but in that promo where he turns on Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels like, "Sid, big man, I'm giving you the night off." And he just starts screaming at Shawn Michaels, "You don't give me the night off, boy." And then there's a pause because you could tell he kind of forgot what else he was supposed to say. And Vince was in the ring too. What a group. What a group. Shawn Michaels, a fully roided up Sid, and who knows what Shawn was on. But I mean, Sid's and the funny thing is his induction into the Four Horsemen, his very first promo, the poor guy, Flair always talks about how Sid didn't work in the Horsemen, but his first promo, he had to cut one on RoboCop. Like, come on, man. And I remember it where they get Sid to talk. He's like, "RoboCop, I'm 6'9", 320 pounds. I am the real Man of Steel in the NWA. You better learn to like it." And then Flair, about 2 minutes later, goes, "And this man is 6'10", 350 pounds. And you could tell Sid was like, fuck, he just made me taller and heavier. What do I do? Like, do I react to that? Do I like, you see the wheels turning. If we send you an MLC shirt, will you wear it to the store even if Neil performs that night? I will not wear any Dabbleverse related shirts because I'm not in it. And I saw Neil the other night. I mean, we fist bump. It's not no great. I mean, I don't think I don't know if he likes me or not, but he's not rude to me or anything. He just, we don't really talk. Hey, dude, what's up? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like me. See, I'm using the energy drink can as a back scratcher. I'm sure he doesn't really like me talking to his brother, but it's not like me and Kevin talk like, Kevin maybe texts me every now and then. So I hope that I say that respectfully, Peter Chicken Man Brennan. How many camping trips have you been on? I'm not a big camper, Colt. I like to. I'm a city boy, so I need bathrooms, toilets, showers. I'm not shitting in the woods and covering it up with dirt. You're probably right there. I mean, if I had a TV show on the air or something of that nature, a hot special on Netflix or YouTube, maybe he would be nicer to me. But that's the whole business. That's everyone, not just Neil. I mean, he did vote for me in my very last roast battle, and he complimented me on my jokes. So, like when Neil is a great writer. So when a great joke writer compliments you on yours, I'll take that. Um, how many yachting diving trips have you been on? One, to be honest with you. Do you like the direction of Kill Tony? Miss the old days with the comedy band. I don't watch Kill Tony. I haven't watched Kill Tony since I was last on it. Um, I mean, I certainly realize how big the show's gotten, but the show's not for me. And shitting on a bunch of open micers is just not. Um, I don't find it for a comic. I understand why civilians would watch it, but the few. I mean, I think I was on Kill Tony like 5 times, maybe, and I never really had fun on it because I was trying to be like actually give advice, like, oh, you should do the joke this way, or like one guy I remember, he literally he did one joke, didn't get much of a laugh, so he got nervous, and he basically stopped after about 40 seconds. I'm like, dude, you got 20 more seconds. Come up with anything. Do some crowd work. Do anything. Like, you can never quit on a set. And like, I could tell the crowd's like, no, man, shit on him. I'm like, I'm not shitting on this guy. Like, what? But that's the show. It's the Gong Show. I don't think it's really about giving good comedy advice. Brokeback Mountain camping. Hell, well, that's a different question. Hello. Um, Well, I mean, listen, I can understand why the show is successful. Like it's that train wreck humor of, it's like the Gong Show meets roast battle meets I don't know a Dean Martin roast. But as a comic, uh, I have nothing to gain by watching it. But that's fun. I think they'll live without me watching it. Uh, yeah, I mean, I can't really attack the show or whatever because I don't watch it. So like, I'm friends with Red Band and. Last time I was in Austin, I stayed at his house. Uh, I mean, it's certainly gotten bigger than when I think the first Kill Tony I did, there was literally 25 people in a pretty empty belly room, comics and audience included. Um, but those are the type of shows that are successful. Like it's a great. It would be a great TV show because you're not going to have to pay those people anything. Like people who want to go on it, you probably don't have to pay them at all. And that's any TV executive is going to be like, that's a good show. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the last time I was on it, I was with Was it Jim Norton and Sam Roberts? And I think that what was it? Allie McCoskey was on, and she was telling a story about. Now this is pre-pandemic, pre-Me Too. Um, Two comics took her to Tijuana, and I kind of interrupted, and it was like, "Oh, is it Dalia and Brian Callen?" And Tony kicked me under the table. He's like, "Well, there goes those two guests." So, you know, that was my last time on Kill Tony. Um, but I just don't. I don't know. It's just not for me. Yeah, Sam is a big wrestling guy. Me, and my co-host at the Comedy Store Wrestling Podcast, we did his show. It was a one-off show during WrestleMania, Samomania, and it was very fun. I got to meet Baron Corbin and a couple other guys. I mean, I would have had more fun if it was an AEW, show, but I don't think Sam's coming to LA to do a Samomania for full gear. But who knows? Maybe one day he will. But I think Sam's more of a WWE guy, and I'm the opposite. I'm AEW for life. So there we go. And I'm trying to get the wrestling fans in here. If I could get all you guys to stay in here, then get some wrestling fans in here, Vanderpump Rules fans in here, because I watched that show. Then this chat could be popping, baby. So, talk to Zach Amico about wrestling, Sam. I have. And Zach has been on the Inappropriate Earl podcast. I am a fan of Zach's. We were supposed to roast battle once, but I declined. Because this is at the height of the show's popularity. They were doing a big LA, New York show. And they were like, yeah, New York wants you to battle Zach Amico to be number one contender. I was like, I just got back from Montreal where I went 4-1 on TV. I'm already the number one contender, bitch. Hook is a good looking guy, which is surprising. I'd love to know what Hook's mom looked like, because Hook's dad is Taz, not exactly a looker. So I would bet the mom was really hot, because he is a yeah, but AC/DC, the ones who are easy targets are the toughest to roast if they are prepared. Like Ralphie May, obviously he was unprepared for the fat jokes, which is crazy to me because he was like 700 pounds. So he should have known there was going to be fat jokes coming. So like me, when I was roast battling in my prime, a lot of the jokes focused on my age, but I turned my age into a strong spot, because like I was battling this one guy who was like 400 pounds, and he's like making fun of how old I am. I'm like, bro, I can hear your arteries hardening now. You're going to die soon. And I got real on him, and like you could tell I deflated him. Like he tried to hit my age as a weak spot, but I turned it around. Like, I might be older than you, but you're going to die first, and you're going to die soon. Um, so yeah, no, I love Zach. I just was like, I was kind of fading on the show anyway. So I'm like, I'm not battling someone. I was 4-1 on TV. And if you look at who I beat Comedy Central Comics, being judged by Comedy Central Comics. I'm not battling Zach. Make him go through some hoops. I had to go after. I mean, look at the people I had to face on television alone. Jesse Joyce, Comedy Central's #1 roast writer. Tom Ballard, who in the untelevised season beat Jimmy Carr, but they gave it to Jimmy. Jimmy Carr, Sarah Tiana, and K. Trevor Wilson in Canada. Like, I'm not going through any more fucking hoops. Uh, but that's just how I am. Nick Wayne, very good looking man. Uh, a kid. He's not even a kid. He's not even 19. He's going to be good. And Christian is probably the perfect um, mentor for him to have. So I did not watch Collision all of it last night. So I'm looking forward to that match and the cage match with House of Black. I do watch the clips of Kevin Nash's podcast because I like Kevin Nash. He keeps it real. Yeah, AEW. AEW's got some potential. I mean, they've definitely their biggest weakness, I think, is storytelling. They're not. I don't think they think things through fully. And what I mean by that is like you look at the devil angle. I think the devil angle was the best storyline in AEW history. But I think that the bad thing about the devil storyline was they didn't figure out, oh, well, Adam Cole has a broken left ankle, so he can't wrestle for a while. MJF, he's hurting, he's busted up. He can't wrestle for a while. So the two main protagonists in the storyline are out of action. And although I do like Roderick Strong, I think he's very good. I've told this story. I was at a GCW show recently, and um, some guy in the front row had an Adam shirt. And for 5 hours, the crowd was yelling, Adam. I'm like, wow, Roderick Strong is over. Now, the other two, Taven and Jackson, I've never really seen them get a reaction. It's nothing against them. And I know they're big Ring of Honor guys, but I just think that, it's Roderick Strong and those two right now carrying the weight. And, Wardlow's not, just seems like he's half-assing it in this group. And you could already see the writing on the wall of Wardlow will turn on those guys. So maybe that could be interesting to a degree. I do like Wardlow. To me, he's like a modern day version of Mike Awesome. He's very athletic, a more athletic, or not a more athletic, but a more nimble Goldberg. For those of you who don't know who Mike Awesome is, check out some of his matches with Tanaka and ECW. It's like wild. Well, I mean, Jay, that's a tough one, Jay Santos. I mean, I think Rousey's wrestling gimmick as being this badass bitch was really ruined by her in the end of her MMA career. It's kind of tough to sell her as like this undefeatable badass when in real life, Holly Holmes kicked her head back to America in Australia, and then Amanda Nunes, I think it was 48 seconds, beat her. So, although wrestling fans know it's not exactly real, I think, you like that believability, I guess you'd call it. So it's hard to sell her as like this unstoppable monster when she, got her ass kicked twice in real life. But you could tell she's a Roddy Piper fan. So, and now I believe she appeared in Ring of Honor a few months ago. So that is usually a sign someone's coming into AEW. And, AEW could turn things around real fast if Rousey goes there, Jamie Hayter comes back, Britt Baker comes back, and then Mercedes Moné comes back. I mean, that's 4 new women to go along with what they have with Tony Storm, the girl from Jersey who just debuted, Sky Blue. I mean, that's, a very good, and Willow Nightingale's good. I mean, I saw her wrestle in Long Beach for New Japan, and she's good. I'd like to see her turn heel. Because that's her gimmick is being all happy and smiling. Um, so it's all good. Uh, oh yeah, I mean Dylan, I do think that Taven and Jackson, this is where you need a good writer. And this is what I would do. Instant heat. Now, of course, we know you got Sting's last match in 1 month. So I think that, there's the theory of you go out on your back. Basically, that means you go out putting someone over. Now, maybe Sting wants to win his last match. Um, Now it's against the Young Bucks, and it's a little weird because they don't really have a history with Sting or Darby, but it is what it is. They still have a month to build it. You could have, I would assume a 10 to 12-minute match. Darby's taking all the bumps. The Bucks are selling for Sting. Sting all of a sudden gets one of the Bucks, if not both of them, in the Scorpion Death Drop, and all of a sudden, from under the ring or from the crowd or whatever, Taven and Jackson, someone distracts the ref. Taven and Jackson come out from the crowd. They beat the shit out of Sting. The Bucks win. Taven and Jackson are instantly over his heels. So, yes, ticket sales apparently are brisk for Sting's last match, but this should tell AEW, like the Devil storyline where they took their time with it. They've been promoting Sting's last match for like 3 months now. And so people have a reason to make travel plans and to watch on pay-per-view if you're not going to travel. So this should be an example of how for AEW and really any wrestling company, how you can promote something. You build it up a little bit. Steve Parker, I do like the Timeless Tony Storm storyline. I was a little unsure at first. It was a little hokey for me, but you could tell she's really into it. Now, I do think instead of having the big bald guy whose name Luther, I would have rather have had RJ City as the not the henchman, but the sidekick. Um, so, and in real life, I think she's either married or she dates Juice Robinson, and see that's what I'm talking about with AEW and their storytelling, their writing. Juice Robinson has been taken off of television like that. There's no, maybe he's hurt, maybe he had to go, fill commitments in New Japan, but they're just like no, oh, he's but like at least I don't know, have a promo where they say he's hurt or something. There's just no mention of him. Have him do a promo and whatever he's hurt, you know. Uh, but that's I think sometimes why AEW gets a lot of shit. It's like when Sean Spears just he was MJF's right hand evil henchman. And I guess his wife had a baby, so obviously he had to go back to Canada to be with his wife, as he should. But there was no mention of it. He's just off of TV for months, and then the next time, I believe it was when AEW was in Toronto, and that's where Sean Spears is from, Ontario, so basically from Toronto. He's in the ring with Wardlow as friends, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You spent the last 7 months tormenting Wardlow. Now you guys are allies, and there was really no mention of why. That's what I mean when I talk about, the writing and storytelling needs to be better in AEW. Hour and 15 minutes. We're going to go for about another 15 minutes. So let me thank my tippers for tonight. John Schneider, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, my good buddy Jordan, ACDC 5150, and the legend of Jay Santos. Thank you guys very much. It's pouring rain here in Los Angeles right now. We're getting, and allegedly the next 12 hours, we're supposed to get 8 inches of rain. My poor dog Lois has only been walked once today. She's bursting at the seams, but she won't walk in the rain. So she is sleeping in her anxiety bed. So you guys are helping me. Cornette just dropped 2 new videos. He sure does put out a lot of content on a daily basis. Yeah, I mean, he is proficient. Okay, I mean, I think I saw that recently, but, well, they dropped the ball with Wardlow, like, twice. Um, uh, they you build him up as this, like, Goldberg type character, and then he's just gone. What did he do? Didn't he do a somersault or a Hurricane Rana off the ladder in that one match? I think it was against Darby, maybe. How many guys on the roster could do that fucking move? And I don't know. I think he's a strong enough character where he doesn't need to be in the Devil's group. Um, I just, I don't know. I mean, um, well, I'm an AEW fan, so I want what's best for the company. And that's the thing with someone like you, Dylan, and Jay, like they can get you back, but it has to be with great writing. Like, here's the problem with AEW. Clip it, someone. I'm just kidding. Uh, is that, in my opinion, they've reached the ratings peak. So, the AEW fans are a limited group because it's a new company. So they've got to figure out a way to get WWE fans invested in the product, get their eyes. They got to figure out a way for people to go, let me see what's on Dynamite this week. I liked what I saw last week. Now, I don't expect them to say that about Rampage because Rampage is kind of their B show. Collision, some may argue, is their number one show right now. I mean, the last few collisions have been really good. But the devil, like, here's was my idea for the devil storyline. And for those longtime listeners out of the 28 watching right now, I'm sorry if you've heard this already, but we do have some new people in here. I would have had, because you got to figure out a way. How do we get WWE eyes on the product? This would have been the perfect way. The devil is Dolph Ziggler. The henchmen are Mustafa Ali, Riddle, and Jack Perry. And someone said to me who wrestles currently for WWE, a big star, Earl, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, that's why you have writers. You make it make sense. And you can spin it like it's a kind of a semi WWE invasion. Um, and they were like, no one wants another group of WWE guys in AEW. They've got enough, but you don't have 3 guys in Riddle, Ollie, and Dolph in their prime. These guys are all in their prime. And Ziggler's been so misused and off of TV in WWE for a while that he's probably pretty good physical wise. He's probably in pretty good shape. That would have been huge. And although the storyline in a weird way in AEW makes sense that the Kingdom, the Undisputed, because they do have history dating back all the way from NXT, with the exception of Wardlow, it adds up. It didn't get the pop I think it should have. When you invest 5 months, from the first attack on Jay White to that pay-per-view, you really needed a big bang for the buck. I mean, the longer the build up, the bigger the pop had to be. Now, if this is just a 2-week storyline, that's fine. But, you really need it on your pay-per-view to be like, "Oh my god," the next day. "Did you see Ziggler's the devil and, uh, Riddle and Ali too? I didn't see that coming." Instead, it was just like, "Oh, yeah, it's Adam Cole and the Kingdom." It's good, but wasn't great. So, but that's the problem with, AEW. Like, they do a lot of things right, and then at the end of the day, it's just not a big payoff. Daddy Man, can you do some jokes from this date last year? Was it February of? I mean, let me see if I can find jokes from last year. February 2023. Let's get this. Were you a fan of 227? I watched it. I don't know. I don't know if I was like a fan of it though. My February 2023 jokes are not loading right now. Hey, if you guys want to help me out for free and don't overdo it, go on the Comedy Store's Instagram and say, "Hey, where's Earl Skakel?" Shit like that helps, and it's totally free of charge. They're not loading right now, so I'm not sure what's going on there, Dr. Nova. My bad. I love the Jeffersons, especially the first couple seasons. All in the Family, 100%. I'm talking the first couple seasons. It got, when it was Archie's Place, it wasn't as good. Still good, but not. I mean, those first like 4 seasons of All in the Family, like my favorite sitcoms, I would say All in the Family and The White Shadow, and early seasons of The Jeffersons, which was basically a black version of All in the Family. Just Sanford and Son is another one. I'm trying to think what else. That's really about it. But I mean, if you look at the racial zingers they were doing at the time, it was just like unheard of because, I'm 55, so I'm old enough to remember when, sitcoms, now you have CBS, ABC, NBC, you have independent channels like Channel 9 and 13 in Los Angeles. You've got FX, you've got Amazon, you've got Netflix, you've got Hulu, you've got, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim for the animated sitcoms. You've got a lot of options. And, you've got Showtime like Shameless and whatnot. And to have a sitcom on in the 70s means you were on one of 3 channels. And so it was a lot harder to pull off the racial stuff because you were on prime time. Like The White Shadow was on CBS Monday nights. So to do some of the episodes that they did is very, very impressive. I liked Mr. Roper better. I mean, even Three's Company, which was a great sitcom, definitely one of my tops. Um, that was a very erotic show, if you will. So, it was something that, was, now it's boring. If you showed an episode of Three's Company to a millennial or a Gen Z person, they'd be like, "This fucking sucks." But back then, Soap is another one that really went for it, with the sexual zingers and innuendos. That's a great sitcom. Uh, well, I mean, I think that, sitcom, if the writing's good, I'm on board. Don Legends is great, but Norman Fell was just great chemistry with Mrs. Roper. I know they tried to do a Roper sitcom, but it just wasn't the same. And the horny neighbor Larry. You know how many Larrys I know in real life? Just guys who still go to bars and nightclubs trying to get their pee-pees wet. Uh, and John Ritter was born. We share the same birthday, so I always kind of identified with John Ritter. Rest in peace. And Suzanne Summers. I mean, I would say her and Heather Thomas and Farrah Fawcett were the girls of that era for me. Um, and Joyce DeWitt played the. I mean, Joyce DeWitt back then was very cute. So it was a great show. And they always had good guest stars on that. Um, so, I mean, yeah, Jeffrey Tamboris. The definition of a working actor. I mean, Jeffrey Tamboris literally been working for 50 years. Well, I mean, I can't tell you how many. When I started going to nightclubs, in the late '80s, early '90s, I knew so many guys like Larry, just like, shirt down to their nips and gold chains and, on the dance floor trying to dry hump people. Then the next night they'd go to us. It's funny. Speaking of All in the Family, Carol O'Connor had a bar in Beverly Hills. It was like the number one singles bar. Like, if you couldn't get laid at Archie, it wasn't called Archie Bunker's bar. I forget what it was called, but if you couldn't get laid in this bar, chop it off, man. And you'd go in there and you just see like 10 Larrys in there. Um, and then it went out of business. Jordache jeans, Sassoon, maybe. Uh, yeah, they really I would say my two of my favorite sitcom characters from that era were Larry, like side characters, not the main characters, but you need side characters too. Um, were Larry from Three's Company and Herb Tarlick from WKRP. They really nailed those characters. Um, yes, Felipe, I remember him. Earl going to nightclubs. I mean, I had a no, no. I would go to dance clubs. Like I would go to that very famous nightclub on Sunset, Roxbury, because I would go with my friend Eric, who worked for a big producer, and all the doormen at the nightclubs were actors. So like there could be a line 500 deep. Me and Eric would get in first, and it's hard if you're two dudes with no puss to get into any nightclub back then, but because these guys all wanted auditions, and Eric was nice enough to get them auditions, so we were VIP. No, I don't want to dox him, but it was not Eric Carr. But so we'd go to Roxbury, and then we would go across the street to Carlos and Charlie's, which Carlos and Charlie's uh, was from what was it from 8 to 12. It was just a restaurant. Well, no, it was a restaurant from like 8 to 10, and then from 10 to 12 it was Chippendales, and then from midnight it was a nightclub that guys could go into. But me and Eric, because the door guy was an actor slash model, a mactor, I guess they call it on Vanderpump Rules. We'd be the first two guys let in, and let me tell you something. It was the most amazing time to walk into a nightclub full of women who were so horny and frothed up that any guy that walked through that door, uh, you could have a good time in the building. There was a dance floor in the middle, and then there was I don't know if this was done on purpose, but there was a black curtain that was like separated the dance floor from like I don't know, just like a closet type of area. And I can't tell you how many times I was on the other side of that curtain. Hello. Hi, my name's Johnny McIntyre. That was my code name, Johnny McIntyre. Hey, I'm getting married tomorrow. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, well, what are you doing right now? Boom, boom, boom. I never understood why Jack wouldn't go for Lana. Lana wanted the tripper wang. Yes, the booger sugar. all day, every day. I mean, it was just a different time zone of, wait, was Lana the older woman in, Three's Company? Wedgeworth was her real name, the actress Anne Wedgeworth, I believe. She was horny AF. Um, so, yeah, it was a good time. I'm talking like 89 to 92, Spice on Hollywood Boulevard. It was, a real hornet's nest of Larrys in there. The Gate on La Cienega was another nightclub that could be quite fruitful, if you know what I'm saying. Um, just a lot of cool. Alzado's actually was a great. It was the bar on La Cienega that the football player Lyle Alzado had. It was like a singles bar type vibe there. A lot of good times. All right, we're at the hour and 30-minute mark. Do you think the Oilers tie the winning streak record? I mean, they're good. I mean, they certainly have had a turnaround since the coaching change. Hopefully, the Kings do as well after firing head coach Todd McClellan. It will be interesting to see how PL Dubois reacts to the coaching change, and I'm hoping that Jim Hillier sees what I see in Arthur's Kaliev. But and some big trades happening the last couple of days. Lindholm getting traded from Calgary to Vancouver, and Sean Monahan to the Winnipeg Jets to play with my buddy Alex Iafallo. The great Alex Iafallo. Give him a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Tell him I sent you. And so it'll be a good second half of the season. Yes, Luc Robitaille and Rob Blake getting a lot of shit right now for that PL Dubois trade. It has not worked out for the Kings so far, but PL Dubois is like the girl or guy who constantly cheats, and you're the next boyfriend or girlfriend. You think I can change them, because every team who looks at PL Dubois thinks I can get him to play like he did against Tampa Bay when he was with Columbus, where he was unbeatable. Like, he was big, he was fast, he could score, he could pass, he was chippy. And then, the version the Kings have gotten has been pretty bad. But he still has like 10 goals and I think 20 assists or whatever he's got. So even though he's playing, you can't play any worse for him than he is right now. He's still somewhat producing. So hopefully he figures it out. I have a feeling they might trade Kaliev, which is really too bad, because I see a lot of Brett Hull and him in Calgary. And ask Calgary Flames fans and the GM who traded him how they feel after seeing him score about 700 goals in St. Louis. Now, I'm not saying Kaliev's going to score 700 goals, but, I don't think him and McClellan jived. So we'll see. Connor Bedard's great. I mean, he's someone who, outside of his injury, he's definitely has advertised. That's cool. Sega Blades of Steel, man. Come on. So it'll be a good second half of the season. The Kings. I'm going to the game Saturday night. They play the Edmonton Oilers. My friend Chris, his cousin, plays on the Oilers. Joey Ryan, I think. NHL 94. I don't like the new. I have NHL 2024, I guess. NHL 24 for the PlayStation 5. I don't like it. Really, the only game I play consistently on PlayStation 5 is Madden. I mean, you see why that game is heads and tails the number one sports game. It's just, you feel like you're controlling an actual game, and it's pretty simple to use in terms of the controllers. The hockey game, you got to press one button for the skating, you got to press another button to pass, to shoot. And it's just too complicated. I mean, I remember hockey games when it was X was pass, zero was shoot, and you just press the forward button to skate faster. Now you've got to do all these things in sequence, and it's just like I'm playing a video game, man. I don't want to fucking think. Um, yeah, I mean, Brett Hull's the real deal. I should try and get him on the podcast. He's probably on Instagram or something. That would be a good interview. I am interviewing Sean Avery sooner than later. Of course, I got Sean in on a few stand-up comedy shows. So we have and I did his podcast, which was very interesting. You talk about a guy who keeps it real. You might disagree with a lot of what Sean Avery says, but he you can't say he doesn't say what's on his mind. Um, yeah, I mean, Brett Hull's, he grew up in the era of jungle hockey. I think his line mates at one point were Kelly Chase, the TNT man, Tony Twist. Uh, I mean, I don't know much about Taylor Swift's music, AC/DC. I kind of like her though, because I hear she's very nice to her crew. Like she doles out like $1 million bonus checks for the truck drivers and shit like that. So I don't hate on her. Um, I think it's great. She's nice to her crew, and um, I don't, I don't hate on someone because they're successful. I mean, do I think she's a little overkill? On the television broadcast, yeah, but I get it, and I'm sure the Super Bowl it's going to be 10 times worse. But hey, she's dating maybe the best tight end of all time. I mean, I know Patriot fans will say Gronkowski, but like he's at the worst number two. So I get the allure of you know, the coverage. Yeah, I mean 50,000 bonus checks, but I heard she gave someone $1 million for a bonus. Maybe it was her manager or something. Um, I mean $50,000 to a truck driver, and that's a brutal fucking life. Because I'm obsessed with watching truck driver videos on YouTube. Like this one guy, Alex the trucker guy, uh, he's really good. He just has a GoPro on his head and he basically films his day and night. And there's a couple others that I watch. You know, when I was a kid, I always wanted to live in a van. I thought that's cool, man. You could sleep in your van. And some of those long haul truckers have like these basically hotel suites in their cab. Uh, I'm obsessed with him, AC/DC. Check out Alex the trucker guy. He's probably the most popular one. Like he did a video the other day on he had to deliver like I don't know 30,000 pounds of noodles to Chicago, and it was snowing, and they didn't really have a direct route for him to um, unload the pallets of noodles, so he had to do all this weird maneuvering on side streets with a huge truck. It was really interesting. So when I'm bored, I watch trucker videos. Once Wayne Fraser, get out of town, dude. Wayne Fraser, my hockey buddy, who tried very hard at one point to get me a Maxime Bouchard jersey, but now I'm out of the jersey collecting world and in the process of selling my whole hockey collection. It's a slow burn because there's a lot to sell. But if anyone knows of any rich person who wants to buy my game worn jersey collection, send them my way. I'll give you a finder's fee. And trust me, that would be a big finder's fee. It is funny. I mean, I wouldn't say I grew up in a mansion, but it was a nice size home. But I always wanted to buy a conversion van and live in it. I just thought I was cool when I was a kid. Um, and I watched some of those trucker videos. Like that would be great to like drive for a few hours, pull off at a truck stop, sleep in a king size bed in the back of your van, watching TV, playing video games. I mean, it's really unlike My life now. Hello. Any Bobby Orr stuff? No, I mean I don't. I have probably the world's largest game worn jersey collection, but it's all fighters. You know, Donald Brashear, George LaRock. Who else? Link Gates. Who else? You know, kind of moderately known enforcers. I don't know what it's worth, to be honest with you. I mean, I will say I've been offered as much as $10,000 for my Eric Bolton 9/11 jersey, which was the Rangers and the Sabres played the first game after 9/11, and the Rangers wore shirts that said New York across it, and Buffalo, which usually their logo is the Sabres head, um, an angry buffalo, I guess. They wore New York across their jerseys, and the Rangers and Sabres, uh, they only made 23 shirts. 20 for the guys in the game and 3 more for the extra players. And I believe I have the only jersey for sale right now because I'm just out of the hobby. I'm getting out. Luckily, I don't need to sell. I just want to. And, other interests, and I'm just too busy with comedy and whatnot to enjoy it like I used to. So not my loss, but my passion is your gain now. If you like game worn hockey jerseys, I never was a huge Jerky Boys fan. George Peros, I've met at comedy shows. Great guy. I've sold all my George Peros jerseys. I believe I had a Princeton jersey of his, a couple Monarchs jerseys of his, the Manchester Monarchs, which at one point was the Kings farm team, and I believe one LA Kings jersey. Well, I mean, not every shirt is worth $10,000, and I'm not even saying the Bolton shirt. That was just, I think, in that particular case, um, the person who offered me $10,000 for that jersey was from New York. They might have known someone who died that day, and I wasn't going to make money off like that. But now that I'm selling, I'm not trying to make money off of 9/11, but it is an expensive shirt in terms of its value. Um, so, um, but George is a great guy. I used to do a comedy show Thursday nights at the Friars Club in Beverly Hills. I've had a Francois LaRue Pittsburgh Penguins jersey, huge jersey, because at that time of the NHL, the players could really fuck around with their jerseys. Like Basil McRae, Razzle Dazzle McRae. His when he played on the North Stars, he had Velcro on his jersey from here to probably about here. So when you fought him and he'd go like this, he'd personally stick his arm out like that. So you'd grab it and the Velcro would break away. So you were left with nothing. Now that shirt's probably $5,000, not because it's a Basil McRae shirt per se, but because of the customization. And I've had, Marty McSorley's had like sleeve inserts. So like this is a regular sleeve, right? It's not a sleeve, but so let's pretend this is Marty McSorley's sleeve. It's a regular sleeve. So you grab on, it's pretty tight. McSorley would have sleeve inserts put into the sleeve, so it literally fit, like that. So when you grab it, it's like you were grabbing nothing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they did it in football too. I know linemen often wear incredibly tight jerseys. So if you're a defensive player, or maybe it's defensive linemen wear super, super tight jerseys. So when you're an offensive lineman and you grab like this, there's nothing to grab. It's like skin tight. Who wins a fight in their primes? Who's Tom Lewis? I would say Bob Probert because I've never heard of Tom Lewis. I do private comedy shows, and they pay really well. I don't do a ton of them, but like I did one at a guy I went to high school with was the GM of a really ritzy country club. He's like, "Hey, they're having a bachelor party. They want a raunchy comic," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not really a raunchy comic, to be honest with you. I mean, I can be, but you know." It's like it's 5 grand. I'm like, I'm a raunchy comic. And I went there and, I was a little nervous because, we're at a country club and, some country clubs are either really stuffy or they're like, Caddyshack style. This one was Caddyshack style. So I'm doing some jokes and the one guy's like, "We want the racist stuff." I'm like, I mean, I do know some racist jokes and that the whole group of probably 100 white dudes, of course, were like, "Tell them, tell them." I'm like, "Guys, I'm not getting paid enough to tell those type of jokes." So people just started throwing me hundreds. I'm like, "Hey, we're in a safe space, right?" That's probably the funniest private, those country club gigs. I mean, those country clubs are like fucking just rich people upon rich people. Uh, yeah. Hello, Dr. Nova. Um, By the way, I will be debuting my Carl Weathers joke from last night on the YouTube as soon as it's edited. Basically, the moral of the story is Stallone was full of shit for saying how much he loved Carl Weathers. He didn't put him in one Expendables movie. Uh, I don't. My family has no connections to Brian Callen. I'll tell you that much right now, brother. Uh, I mean, my dad was kind of a suspicious dude. I'll tell you that much. Taz, what up? What up? The residential artist. It's still raining. Normally, I would have cut this stream 15 minutes ago, but I can't walk Lois because it's pouring rain. Well, I mean, I nothing against Terry Crews, but it's like, someone made a good list of people who should have been in the Expendables movies, and Carl Weathers was the top of the list. I mean, Terry Crews was not known as an action movie guy. So obviously, the two names that topped the list of people who should have been in the Expendables were Steven Seagal, Carl Weathers, Jeff Speakman, and one of the great uh, action movie cult movies, The Perfect Weapon. Um, I'm doing well, Tass. Just doing my Sunday night flagship stream. Of course, not as popular as last week's stream, but we were going for it last week. I mean, I think we had 70 people at one point. Leo Gunn just coming in hot. Uh, and I think over 117 likes. But I appreciate this stream as well. I mean, we've got close to 40 people in here now. I love it. And, we're just wrapping up. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a second wind of viewers from some other stream. And, that's how it works. I'm still Sunday nights is definitely the flagship show. Um, Earl, did you see Prey? I didn't like it. Birthday Boy Stab Man. I believe you might be um, a new listener. Hello. I just didn't like it. Oh, Ray DeVito was on. He texted me about coming on, but I'm done being on other people's streams. I just, because now they all stream snipe each other and talk shit. And I'm just not into that. So I didn't, I mean, I've decided that I got to go on when I got to go on. If I go on when no one else is on, I'll be doing streams at 4 in the morning. So shout out to Carl Weathers. Rest in peace. I'm actually sad. Um, he was in so many movies of mine that I liked. Obviously the Rocky movies. And I thought Rocky 2 should have been a little more about Apollo as well. And by that I mean I know it's a Rocky movie, but I think they lost a little bit of an opportunity to kind of show the human side of Apollo, because there's that one scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in um oh, is that what you meant? Someone asked me who would win in a prime fight, Tom Lewis or Bob Probert. I think you meant Tom Wilson. That's a tough one. I mean, Probert was probably coked up more, so I'll go Probert, but Wilson's a tough boy. Leo Gunn, gifting 5 memberships. So to the people who got a free membership, thank Leo Gunn. Um, I appreciate all the love and support of my tippers. Um, this is a little community here. We're Dabbleverse free. There's no drama in this stream. I don't tolerate it. We've had a few trolls in here as of late, not tonight, but a few people try and get me going. But yes, it's a sad day for fans of the Rocky movie, Predator. It was also good in a couple other movies. I think Death Hunt with Charles Bronson. A good point about Apollo Creed being a Raider. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy right now, the rain. What's the last you've heard of Link Gates? Funny enough, maybe about 10 years ago, great cast, Death Hunt. Ed Lauder, Charles Bronson. I get a phone call from a really gruff voice, and it was Link Gates. Apparently, someone had given him my number. I think it was the guy who put together that fight tournament. Says, hey, I don't know what he said, but he was like, hey, there's this crazy guy in LA. He collects your jerseys. Give him a call. You could probably make some money off of him. So here I am talking to Link Gates, and he definitely sounded a little slow. Very nice guy, though. And then he puts me on the phone with his mom. He's like, I'm going to go see what jerseys I have of mine in my garage. I'll just ship them to you. I'm like, I'll pay you for them. He's like, nah, fuck them. I stole them. And the image of Link Gates at the post office shipping a package, I would have loved. And his mom's like, Earl, my son's just misunderstood. And, he has a bad rap. And then literally the next day, he got kicked off the team he was on for starting a bar fight with the owner. Well, I mean, he's not that devastated. I mean, he should have been in at least the first Expendables movie. Yeah, it's windy out here too now. I can't walk Lois. Poor thing's been inside all day. That's interesting, ACDC. He was probably in the Raiders system with Jack Tatum, George Atkinson, the Stork, Ted Hendricks, John, one of my favorite football, even though I'm a Steeler fan, one of my favorite football players is the great John Matuzak. Good night, Taz. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, I believe Barry Beck had a very funny story about playing junior hockey for the New Westminster Bruins, and he would train where the BC Lions, because Barry Beck is from British Columbia, he would train on the stairs, and he would run the stairs with Carl Weathers. I think Bill Goldberg played college football. A lot of pro wrestlers, a lot of pro football players turn to pro wrestling once they figure out their NFL careers are over or never started. Be careful with the snow. It's, right now, the next 2 days, tonight alone, we are supposed to get, in the next 12 hours, I think I've heard 7 to 8 inches of rain. And that's literally what we get in a year, most years. I'd be down for some wacky, one final Rambo movie. I've always wanted Clint Eastwood to do one more Dirty Harry where he's like senile and he's like just like shooting anyone. Yeah, I believe that the hard weather started where Pebble Beach is, but now we're getting it. I mean, I probably could go to Big Bear in my Jeep. I don't even think I need chains on my tires. They're pretty grippy. But thank you, Leo Gunn, for the memberships. I'm still not sure how memberships work, like how long they are and whatnot. But I appreciate the support. Uh, yeah, I mean, Joe Murphy was a great player. Of course, I think the most famous homeless NHL player, unfortunately, is Matt Johnson, NHL tough guy. I mean, he was set to be the next Probert or the new Probert. And apparently for years he was running around Santa Monica completely homeless. And like, it's a tough business. Once your body starts breaking down, most sports leagues get rid of you. Okay, thank you, Leo Gunn. I appreciate that. But there are some freaks, will the man. Tell you that much right now. Oh, thank you, BOIB podcast. Is that the Quad Father? I can't keep up with all the names and whatnot. If it is the Quad Father, you people should thank him because he was trying to help me get monetized. So I always appreciate people who were trying to help me. Um, yeah, I get some weird texts like that too today. I got some texts of just people sending me porn or something. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Who sends porn to a fucking person you don't know? Uh, yeah, uncredited, I heard. And he was also in Magnum Force, and I've seen Magnum Force 1,000 times. Uh, I don't recall Carl Weathers being in it. Um, everyone, check out the BYB podcast, the Quad Father. Even though it is a Dabbleverse related show, the Quad Father is one of the good ones. Check out all the Dabbleverse shows. We just don't talk about that in here. Uh, yeah, Quad's very good. I got no issues with the Quad. Yeah, Quad Father, plug your shit in here if you want, where people can follow you and whatnot. See, we should all follow each other and all support each other. That's how it could be. I realize my streams might come off a little boring in terms of, there's not a lot of shit talking in here, but like, I got that out of my system with Roast Battle. Do you feel lucky? Clint Eastwood said that to Albert Popwell, who I believe played 3 different characters in the Dirty Harry movies. He played that guy who got shot outside the bank robbery. He played Big Ed Mustafa in the Dirty Harry that took place on Alcatraz Island. And he played his sidekick, I believe, in Sudden Impact, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I mean, Boulder Johnny, they're boring from the standpoint of people are coming in here from the Dabbleverse world. They want shit talking. They want me to say something bad about this person, and then they clip it and show it to that person, and then they say something bad about me. It's just fuck that, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't, but I saw that the other night, and in terms of Carl Weathers being a demonstrator in Magnum Force, and the only scene I can think of is when he says, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" There were some like people across the street. It's kind of like they say in Escape from Alcatraz, Danny Glover was in Escape from Alcatraz, and the only scene where there were like black people in Escape from Alcatraz was the scene where he walks up the steps in the yard, and there's all those, there's like the black section of the yard, and he must have been one of them, I guess. Uh, yeah, I mean, I believe I'm doing Hackamania, and people are like, well, if you're anti-Dabbleverse, why are you doing a Dabbleverse comedy show? Because Vegas is a hotbed for stand-up, and I'm a junkie when it comes to comedy. performing comedy. So I want to, uh, I could go to Hackamania, do a show wherever it's at, literally leave, go do a set at Kimmel's, go do a set at Wise Guys, probably get Eddie If to get me a spot at the Cellar, even though I'm not passed at the Cellar in New York. I think I could do a guest spot or whatever, and then come back and do another set at Hackamania. Uh, so I mean, I don't. It's a very toxic scene in Vegas, from what I understand. But well, I am here to bring us all together. You know, I think, and listen, I believe me, is it tempting sometimes to jump in to the roasting stylings of the Dabbleverse? I know right now I have 40 people in here. I'm sure if I talked shit about whoever, I'd have at least 100 people in here all super chatting me. Hey, say this about this person, $5 or whatever, and then you get the trolls in here who Kevin Brennan is really perfected the art of the super chat from the standpoint of, uh, oh, you want to say I suck? That's fine. Pay me. You want to say Neil's funnier than me? That's fine. $5, or I won't read it. Um, yeah, I mean, Wilderman, I think, I mean, we're supposed to get hit pretty hard tomorrow as well. So, yeah, I don't dance for super chats. I mean, I just don't. Like, you know, my I my super chat slash Patreon style money comes from my voiceover work, and like last night I headlined the main room at the Comedy Store. Friday night probably made, because you split the door with the comics. I made $600 last night for an hour's worth of work. So although hey, who doesn't like super chats? And speaking of super chats, let me thank my tippers. I always like the tippers to feel like they are appreciated, and I just don't look at them as a fucking money grab. John Schneider, thank you. Peter Chicken Man Brennan, Jordan the Lion, ACDC 5150, Jay Santos, and Leo Lovegun for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Um, we've got uh, it's not quite as extensive as New York, but we do have a subway system, and they're constantly building it. So uh, they will book you at the Cosmopolitan. Yeah, I mean, I think I could get booked. I mean, I have enough TV credits. Um, oh, sorry about that, Wayne. I mean, in my defense of the ad, because now my streams and videos are monetized. Um, I have picked the lowest amount of ads, so it's not too disruptive. Um, I'm not going to make a lot in terms of ads on my videos because don't, uh, I don't have any viral videos, but I hope the ads aren't annoying. I picked the least annoying amount of roles they can do. Um, Steve, any new comics coming up at the store? All the time. I mean, they just passed 4 new people this week. Jim Norton was one, so he's not new. Ahmed Weinberg, he's been at it a long time. The one guy's kid in his mid-20s I've never heard of before, but he's probably never heard of me. So Chris Estrada is really funny. Jay Santos, $1.99. Thank you very much, Jay. Um, I appreciate it. I'm guessing your subway has a better infrastructure than, well, I mean, I don't know if it does, bro, because LA is an old city, so the streets are very old, and God knows what it's like underneath the streets. Um, we have sinkholes all the time from just streets just collapsing. So um, we might have a more modern subway in terms of the actual subway and the railings that are being installed, but the piping that they're going through is literally 100+ years old. So it's like, I know they were working on a high-speed train from Vegas to LA, but I think they bailed on the project a couple $1 billion later. Dick Fitzwell, Mike Hunt for mayor. I don't know who. Oh, I see what you did there. I seen Porky's. See, I appreciate a good joke, even if it's at my expense. Well, we've done 35 minutes longer than we would have. So thank you for the likes and the numbers seem to be going up. So maybe we'll just keep going. Although I don't like to do streams longer than an hour and a half. I want you guys to want more. Um, but I'm a streamer of the people. I like to give back to those who give to me. So Eric Estrada and Paul Michael Glazer. I'd be down with that. Eric Estrada was nice to me at Best Buy once. That's Lois coughing. Lois, it's all right, baby doll. He was wearing a blue shirt at Best Buy, so I thought he worked there. So I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, "Hey, do you know where the CDs are?" And he turned around and was like, "Oh shit, it's Poncherello." And he actually showed me where the CDs were. So I got nothing but love for Officer Frank Poncherello. I figured Ray was on because he texted me asking me if I wanted to go on, but I was always planning. You guys know my flagship stream is Sunday nights, so Sunday night 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So how do you buy subscriptions? I don't know, Wayne, to be honest with you. I think there's a button somewhere where you can buy one. No. I mean, he probably made a fair amount of money on chips. The guy you got to really feel sorry for is Larry Wilcox, Officer John Baker, because he was lied to by the Miami Vice folk, and he was supposed to be the Don Johnson character, Sonny Crockett. Like he was screen testing all the tubs. And so I think that's the guy you got to really feel for, because he thought he was going to be Sonny Crockett. And I think they were waiting for Don Johnson to finish up some other pilot, and then he was going to get the gig. But Miami Vice, the TV show, could have been Larry Wilcox and Denzel Washington, who screen tested as Detective Ricardo Tubbs. Just hit the $ below. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for telling Wayne that. Anthony Michael Hall from a Breakfast Club. I don't know what that means. I mean, the guest stars were amazing. I mean, you're talking Liam Neeson, Julia Roberts, Bruce Willis, Burt Young from the Rocky movies. Don't worry about it, Wayne. Dick Fitzwell, I see what you're doing there, because I like your sense of humor. Dick Fitzwell says, "Drink Dixon cider." See, you guys can make me laugh every now and then. Yes, Sergeant Contreras, Chris Pine, his son, Larry Pine, I believe, was his name in real life. Thank you, Leo Gunn. Listen, it took me forever to figure out how to get monetized, so I appreciate you guys helping out me and the fellow people in chat. Wayne Fraser gifted 5 memberships. Wow. I mean, you guys are too kind. So everyone, please thank Wayne if you got a free membership. I see we have a girl named Melinda in here. It's very rare to see well, we do have a girls army, if you will. Brittany, Pam I am, I believe, the great Tracy Carnazzo. Earl, have you ever worked with comic John Gallivan? I have not. Thank you, Wayne. Everyone thank Wayne who got a free membership, please. Earl must have loved the $6 million man and his crushing encounter with Bigfoot. I tell you, if I was they should do a gay $6 million man, and you could guess where about $5 million of that money would have gone right to his dick. Hello. So Chips filmed in the Valley. Yes, a lot of good guest stars on Chips as well, to be honest with you. That's the thing, when you're a struggling actor, you'll take any fucking gig. So like it's funny to see like I believe Brad Pitt's first gig. Now here he becomes one of the greatest actors of all or biggest known actors of all time and a great actor. I think his first role was a extra part as a waiter in the Charlie Sheen, DB Sweeney movie No Man's Land. Of course, also starring the great Bill Duke as Malcolm, the auto shop owner. Um, Bukkake gave $6 million, man. I mean, there you go. That's an option too. Bigfoot was Andre the Giant. Are you being serious? I can't imagine him fitting into a costume. Uh, it's on hold. That was okay. I'm not sure what that's referencing. Chips was good for its time frame, to be honest. I love the '80s sitcoms and like Miami Vice, Crime Story. Um, Steve is gay with Bigfoot. I mean, that would be yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio was on Growing Pains. I mean, you know, I mean, look at the White Shadow. I mean, so many great guest stars on that. You had Peter Horton was on an early episode of The White Shadow, and he became a huge director and producer. The movie The Wildlife with Chris Penn, great cast, but the guy who was in one scene, he was the liquor store clerk. Dean Devlin ended up becoming a huge director. Like he did the Godzilla movie, and like you would think, out of all those people in that movie, like the guy who played the liquor store clerk wouldn't be the biggest guy long term in Hollywood, but he certainly was. Thank you for thanking Wayne Fraser for the free memberships. Um, as you well, I'm a wildlife guy. And here's the crazy thing. I was watching an old episode of Vegas, the TV show that Michael Mann actually created. I did not know. Yes. Uh did she say Kleiman or Mosley? Oh, Mosley. Boy, was she a real hose beast. She's my sister. Did you say Kleinman or Mosley? I love the wildlife. It did not do very well at the box office. It was kind of a loose sequel to Fast Times. I mean, it wasn't really, but it kind of was. No one had the same name, and Chris Penn was. I guess you could say playing a Spicoli type character. Thank you, Wayne. Um, yeah, Andre the Giant was good in Princess Bride. Yes, Chris Penn from Reservoir Dogs. Great cast, The Wildlife, and we've talked about um, that movie a few times. But I was watching an old episode of Vegas, and there was a great '70s bad guy who I'd always see in like Charlie's Angels, Vegas, any of the bad guy, Dynasty, and his name was Lloyd Bachner. And I thought, I wonder if that's any relation. I just assumed that's got to be Hart Bachner's dad. And it was Lloyd Bachner, the great, Lloyd Bachner was that typical. I've seen this guy. I don't know his name, but he's in a lot of things. It's kind of like when I tell people about Rob Riggle, like you know the name, you Google Rob Riggle, and oh, that guy, yeah, he was in this. That was kind of Lloyd Bachner. I mean, Donut City is the song most frequently uh, listened to song off the Wildlife soundtrack. And I don't know the name of the closing credits song, but it's an awesome instrumental keyboard and guitars. I'll just assume Van Halen did both. And really, really good. And I believe some of, if not all of the instrumental tracks on the Wildlife ended up on Van Halen's. I think it was their first album with Sammy Hagar. So, yes, if you look up Wildlife ending credits, that's the song I'm talking about. Yes, Kurtwood Smith. Well, RoboCop was a great movie because the two main bad guys, Ronnie Cox and Kurtwood Smith had never played bad guys before. It was kind of like the opposite of Airplane, where Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges, none of them had ever done comedy roles before. And that's half the reason why Airplane is so fucking funny, because you've got Leslie Nielsen and Peter Graves and all these great iconic 60s and 70s and maybe even late 50s like dramatic actors doing comedy. That's, I think, part of the charm with the RoboCop, is that you've got these guys who'd always play the nice father or the nice uncle or the nice shop owner, playing these just evil characters. Um, yeah, I mean, RoboCop for its time was a pretty um, graphic movie. I did not know. Wilda, hold on. Wild Arms 007. Wild Arms. Sorry, my vision gets bad at night. Um, I mean, I do think it's funnier than Fast Times, but I think, I mean, arguably it had just as strong of a cast. I mean, you look at Fast Times, obviously, you have the great Sean Penn, you have Jennifer Jason Leigh, Robert Romanus, Phoebe Cates, um, Judge Reinhold, a great cast. But then you look at the cast of The Wildlife, you had Eric Stoltz, Leah Thompson, Hart Bachner. He's most known for Ellis from Die Hard, but he was pretty funny in The Wildlife. You had Michael Bowen, the bad guy from Valley Girl, Angel Salazar, Comedy Store paid regular, and just coming off of Scarface. I think Michael Bowen was just coming off of Valley Girl, so you know, um, and Kevin Peter Hall is the strip club bouncer, otherwise known as the Predator. Um, nice cameos from Lee Ving from the band Fear and Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones, and of course Robert Ridgely is the condo manager. Um, just a great cast. But for some reason, I don't know, it just didn't do well. Jenny Wright, Rick Moranis. I mean, arguably you could say The Wildlife had the better cast. But it's just like it's weird in the 80s. Yeah, so over 50 watching now, 51. Like, that's a good amount for me. Of course, Shuli and Brennan have like 1,000, but hey, I'll take it. I mean, for someone who's really only been monetized streaming for a month, I think 3 weeks, maybe it's been a month. I'll take 50 people on a Sunday night. Um, but the 80s were weird, Kong. Uh, I like the strip club scene. As a matter of fact, the first time I saw Angel Salazar at the Comedy Store, I was in the main room. It was a Friday night. I was watching. I hadn't started comedy yet, and he came out, and I'm like, I started not heckling him, but I started yelling out his lines from the strip club scene. I got Visa, I got Master Charge, and he thought I was heckling. I'm like, no, The Wildlife. I got Visa, I got Master Charge, and then he liked me. Um, yeah, but like there was two movies that came out back to back, similar to Fast Times and then The Wildlife, where 52 Pickup, which is probably my favorite all-time movie with the great John Glover, Clarence Williams III, Roy Scheider, Anne Margaret, Robert Trevor, Lonnie Chapman, Vanity. That movie kind of bombed at the box office. And then a year later, Fatal Attraction just blows up the box office. And it's really kind of the same plot. I mean, it's a little different. Now, someone said 52 Pickup was, it's basically a movie about a snuff film, which I guess it was. they kill Kelly Preston. Spoiler alert. Um, but it's just weird how 52 Pickup didn't do well, and Fatal Attraction like killed it. It's just, it's like some action movies. Some action movies did well, some didn't. Like American Ninja is kind of like a cult movie, but that came out, I think, around the same time as Delta Force, and Delta Force killed it. So, you know, Digstown, another good movie. Yeah, what up, Grimace and Pain? We're about to end, but I appreciate you, Hogzilla. Yes, they do, Dick Fitzwell. We must know each other, but I like that you like your anonymity. Um, well, I don't know. I mean, I've always wondered why 52 Pickup didn't do better, and then I saw a movie, a documentary about Canon Films. It was a really weird. Let me look that up because it's got a weird name on Netflix, and they basically said, um, the Go-Go Boys. No, it wasn't that. They basically said that any Canon Films movie that didn't have Chuck Norris in it did not get uh, the promotional machine behind it. Electric Boogaloo, the wild, untold story of Canon Films. It was on Netflix. I'm not sure where I can watch it now. Let's see where we can watch it. I guess it's on Amazon or Google Pay now. But that kind of made sense because I never really saw commercials for it. I mean, I think I saw Roy Scheider, I believe, on the Today Show once, but that was about it. Um, well, when Roy Cohn in the chat, what about the movie Mischief? Yeah, that was a good movie. I mean, I thought that guy Nash, the good-looking guy, the lead, was going to be a star. Like he kind of had that Michael Pare vibe, and it's just like, nothing ever really happened for him. My favorite science fiction films. I mean, it's Aliens considered a science fiction film? I mean, I guess Terminator and Predator I guess Predator would be a science fiction film. I mean, so I would say Aliens, the second movie in the franchise, and Predator. Um, so Canon film documentary is hysterical and fascinating. Um, well, it just like because it just seemed like, in looking back, that they did seem to only promote Chuck Norris films, but that was their bread and butter. And I was watching Death Wish 4 the other day, which I believe was a Canon film, and um, they had taken a loss on movies between Braddock missing in action and Death Wish 4. So uh, they were telling some of the ways that the low budget, Charles Bronson's salary was basically 70% of the film. So if you watch Death Wish 4, it is a pretty low budget movie. Um, yes, Lois, I'm not a Curb fan, but I love Larry David. I've never watched the show. Alien, the first movie was scary, but something about the cast in Aliens 2 I liked better. Although I'm a big Alien cast fan as well. Tom Skerritt, Yaphet Kotto, very good. Both had very good cast. Yeah, I mean, the original Alien, great cast, no doubt about it. I just liked the um, cast a little better in Aliens 2. And speaking of Aliens 2 and Death Wish, I never noticed this before, but Frost, who was the good-looking black guy in the unit in Aliens 2, he was one of the killers in Death Wish 3, which of course had Richie Cunningham's brother as the killer. What's up, NASA Creep? I'm about to end the stream where we've gone over about an hour, but we've had so much fun here tonight. And before we go, let me thank the tippers one more time. The tippers, the fan funding tippers. however you would like to phrase it. The great John Schneider got us started off tonight, and then Peter Chickenman Brennan, Days with Jordan the Lion. Check out his travel vlog, please. ACDC 5150. Jumpin' Jay Santos. Leo Gunn gifting 5 memberships. Jay Santos and the great longtime friend of mine, Wayne Fraser, gifting 5 memberships. So if you got some gifted memberships, make sure to thank them. Yes, Brittany, we've done almost 2.5 hours, which is, usually I like to do an hour, hour and a half, but my Sunday night stream is, at least it's popular for me. I've done my duty here with you guys tonight. Jay Santos, thank you. The daddy man. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I have nowhere to go. Lois is sleeping right now. She's only been walked once today, but she will not walk in the rain. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Um, yes, there are some cool marathons going right now. Twilight Zone marathon. I think Vegas. I just recorded all the Vegas episodes. Thank you, Boulder Johnny. It's just, it's a fun, there's no drama in this stream. Although I certainly do let the trolls in. I don't have anyone blocked. I like to keep an open stream, and I probably will subscribe to the Kevin Brennan theory of, if you want to troll me, say I suck or whatever, pay me for it, or else I won't read it. I know Lois is, she's got a severe cough, and she's on medicine, and she got heart murmur and stuff like that. I won't bore you with Lois's ailments, but me and my ex Gail, who is Lois's human mama, we take good care of her. So trust me, Lois may sound like Keith Richards after a bender, but she's doing good. Yeah, I don't block people. Lois is the best. ACDC. Uh, you know, if you want, but I will subscribe. Well, no, she's not dying, Doodle. I mean, I guess we're all dying, but she's just yeah, hit the like button while we're at it. Um, she's just an older dog, and she's got fluid in her lungs and heart murmur. So, uh, I'm doing the best I can to make sure she's treated correctly. So if you got any last minute questions, get them in, because you got about 3 minutes before the Earlverse flagship stream is donezo. Now we're doing a little reshuffling in the Earlverse organization. I'm flirting with doing an hour stream Monday through Friday. We'll take Saturday off, and then we'll do the flagship Sunday stream. But I'm just trying to figure out the algorithms and whatnot, and we'll just take it from there, and we'll build this stream into whatever we can. I know Wheezy Jefferson. I'm fading. My energy drink is fading. So you snooze, you lose, brother. But I'll always be loyal to you because you tried to help me with my car battery. So thank you guys. The hearts are, I don't know what it means when the hearts are going like that. I'm assuming in some ways it helps with the algorithm, but hey, see, that's what I tell people. There's plenty of ways to help without tipping. There's hitting the like button. Thank you, Doodle. I love you. There's hitting the heart button. There's retweeting the when this is over, I'll tweet the link out. There's all kinds of ways that you can help and not financially tip. There's other ways. Leo Gunn, $2. Were you a Howard Stern fan or O&A fan growing up? Howard Stern, actually, because I got his show on WOR Channel 9 in New York on my cable system. Good night, Wayne. Thank you for the gifted memberships to my crew. I really wasn't aware of O&A until probably recently when I watched YouTube clips of them. And I've actually spoken with Opie a few times on Twitter DMs, just nothing small talk, but yeah, I think Sanford and Son was probably filmed at the what is now the Radford Studios, which is on Riverside, as well. I'm assuming it's the same um, location. Yeah, that Channel 9 Howard Stern show is fucking bonkers. Like, when you think of the things they were getting away with back then, like, yowza. Like, whoo! Uh, I mean, Daniel Carver. I mean, the Howard Stern dressing up as Clarence Thomas. The one thing he did with Wheezy, no, Sherman Hemsley. Like, yeah, I don't know how Howard Stern did not get canceled. Like, because like you said, Brittany, some of those clips are on YouTube, so they're kind of fresh. But he survived, I guess. So there you go. But we're gonna call it now, guys. Uh, I know that is ironic, ACDC. I never really thought about that. But thank you guys all for the conversation. You know what to do. Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Unless I have a gig or something, it will always be Sunday nights, 7 p.m. And then I'm working on a schedule for the week. I know that the numbers will grow if it's consistent. Like the Sunday night stream is growing because everyone knows 7 p.m. Sunday night. Earl's on. Let's go. Good night, Dr. Nova. Good night, everyone. I'll see you at some point this week. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll go on before MLC. And yes, I'm trying to figure it out, Boulder Johnny. And that's all. Love you all. Earl Skakel, Sunday night from rainy Los Angeles, saying goodbye for me and Lois.